You're listening to the weekly Parsha Podcast with Ari Goldwag, recorded with Hashem's never-ending assistance in Ramah B'Shemesh Israel 5778, 2018. This week's Parsha is a double header, Parshas Matos-Masei, and ordinarily when we have a double header like this, so we end up discussing the first Parsha, the first Pasuk. I want to actually go straight to the second Parsha and share with you a beautiful piece, again from Reb Chaim Friedlander. And by the way, this is basically the last, or the second to last piece in his Sefer on Bamidbar, and we do not yet have, it has not yet been released, the Sefer on Devarim, so we'll be back to analyzing Midrashim, as we usually do. But for this week, we still have something to share. Beautiful idea, beautiful deep piece from Reb Chaim Friedlander. He says like this, Chalukas Eretz Yisrael pi Gerel. So it says in the Parsha in Masei, Tzavis b'nei Yisrael v'amart aleim ki atem boim el haaretz Kenan Zois. It should probably be el eretz Kenan Zois. Haaretz asher tipa lachem benachal eretz Kenan legvulei seah. So God commands Moshe to speak to the b'nei Yisrael, to the people of Israel, and say to them, they're coming to the land of Canaan, and they're going to receive it as an inheritance, the land of Canaan in all of its borders. Rashi says, and that pasuk, by the way, is in Numbers chapter 34, verse 2. Rashi says, Tipa lachem al shem shenischalka begerel nikris chaluka lashnafila. What is the language of falling? What does it mean it falls to you? Asher tipa lachem. Since it's going to be given out with a lottery, a goral is a lottery, therefore it's the language of falling. So we're going to discuss and try to understand what is the idea of the goral, what is the idea of the lottery, or what's the idea? Why is it that Hashem, when He distributes the pieces of Eretz Yisrael to the Jewish people, why is it that it's distributed through a lottery? What is the concept here? And it makes it sound random, and yet we're going to see it's not at all random. Not only is it not random, but it's extremely clear that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself, God Himself, who is directing the lottery, so to speak. It's not really a lottery then. Reb Chaim Friedlander tells us that why was it apportioned this way? Why was the land of Israel given out with a lottery? So that there should not be complaints on the part of the Jewish people over the fact that I don't like my portion. Why did I get this portion? Why did you get that portion? No, everything is very clearly apportioned. It's not by chance. It's a type of goyrel, which is a lot, like our lot in life, not a lot or a lottery like by chance. In this way, everyone will recognize his portion. The nature of a human being is that he always feels like he's not getting what he deserves. He's not getting what's coming to him. And of course he feels like he deserves the best of the best. These types of feelings that a person allows to simmer and boil inside of him, so it can cause him to swallow up the entire world. However, there is truth to these thoughts, these feelings. As our sages tell us, this is Gemara in Sanhedrin, page 37a. Each person is obligated to say, the world was created for me. Right? A person shouldn't say to himself, it's also a big Yitzhar for a person to say, I have no purpose here, I have no life, I'm not significant. No. Chazal say, every single human being is obligated to say that the world was created just for me. This type of thinking, having this awareness that the world is created for me, is bound, or the point of it is to bring a person to an awareness, to a thought process of the great responsibility that's upon him in regards to the entire world. Also recognition that the whole world is here for him, but don't take anything for yourself. One person can live on just a small amount of carob. But the mistaken view of this idea is the person thinks the whole world is created for me and I deserve everything. And therefore, a person can go with this thought that everything belongs to him. Okay, so that's the dangerous approach. The same thought can be used in a negative way or in a positive way. So, before we actually translate what we just read, so the idea is that since a person can think that everything is mine, everything is magiali, I deserve everything, so therefore the Torah assigned to each person specifically and clearly what is their portion in Eretz Yisrael, and we'll soon see that the portion in Eretz Yisrael very much represents the person's specific purpose in life, what he is here, what each and every individual, he or she, is here to bring into the world. But he says that it's important to understand, why does the chalukah, the splitting up of the land of Israel, have to be done with a lottery? And also, interestingly, it has to be done with the Urim v'Tumim. The Urim v'Tumim were the special breastplate that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would wear. And they could ask questions of God, and God would respond. And the Urim v'Tumim would light up. And they could see that, as we're going to say soon, that first they would say, what's the portion? Which piece of Israel goes to which? Or they would ask, it was a yes or no question. They would ask, does this portion go to this particular tribe? And then the Urim v'Tumim would respond, yes or no. And then they would do the lottery, and it would be the same exact thing would happen. Okay, it's difficult to understand. Just because we didn't want them to feel like they're not getting, that there should be, we didn't want people to feel like, oh, I deserve this, why did he get this? Therefore, we do it with this lottery. It happens to be that this is the correct portion. What is the idea of the lottery? Hagarel Mazel. The lottery has to do with the concept of Mazel, and as he explains here on the bottom, the word Mazel, we think of it as Mazel Tov. You should have good luck. The word Mazel does not mean luck. The word Mazel, the root of the word Mazel is Nozel, which means to drip or to come down. It has to do with the shefa, the outpouring or the influx that God is sending into the world drips down, so to speak. That's the word Mazel. So it has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with that which is specifically apportioned by God. So the concept of the lottery corresponds to this. The concept of the lottery is something that's beyond the choice of a human being. These are the things that have to do with the apportioned lot of the human being. My specific role in life. It's not the understanding that it happened to be that he received this particular portion. The girl here, the lottery that we're talking about here, is that which sets in place what is the person's specific purpose in life, his lot in life. Corresponding specifically to that which God apportioned to that particular person. That was the results of the lottery. Each and every tribe had a specific purpose, something that was specific to that particular tribe. The land of Eretz Yisrael was given out to each of the tribes based on their specific purpose in life. According to their specific service of God. Each and every tribe in a general way. And similarly, each and every tribe in a private, a specific manner. They received their portion, which was apportioned and specifically for them in the land of Israel, according to their purpose in creation, in the framework of the service of God. Each person with the vessels that were required for him, according to that which was set from the beginning, corresponding specifically to the roots of that person and the roots of the way God leads the world. This is something that even Moses himself could not understand. Right? It's beyond that which human understanding can understand. He couldn't decide this. The lottery was what decided according to the roots of creation. According to the Hanhaga of Mazel, according to that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings down this influx into the world, which was decided by God originally when God created the world. Chazal Amar, our sages tell us. Okay, he continues. He's talking about how Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu all that's going to be. This is another important and interesting point, which is directly related to what we're speaking about. Hashem showed Moses all that was going to be in the future of every single generation of the Jewish people. Chazal Amar, our sages tell us in the Medrash. Command the children of Israel and tell them that you are going into the land of Canaan. This is the land that will fall to you in your inheritance. This teaches us that God showed Moses all that was going to be, all that was, and all that's going to be. He showed him that eventually there would be someone from the tribe of Dan, a person named Samson, who was going to stand and become the shofet, the judge of the people of Israel. There would be someone named Barak ben Avinoam from the tribe of Naphtali. Each and every generation, and those who would be the leaders of that generation. Dor Dor v'Shavtav, the judges, Dor Dor Manhigav, its leaders, Dor Dor Upaishav, interestingly, each generation and its sinners, Dor Dor v'Tzadikav, and those who were the righteous ones of that generation. Shenemar, we're going to need to understand, what does it mean? Why does Moses need to see the potion, those who are sinners of the generation? We'll see soon. God said to him, this is the land that I promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Saying that this is the place that I will give to your children. I have showed it to you with your eyes. And why is this being told here? What is the idea here? As Hashem was giving each and every one of the Shvatim their portion of the land, so Moshe was also able to see, corresponding to this, the past of each of the tribes and the future of each of the tribes. How that special tafkid, how the special purpose of each tribe would manifest. God showed Moses the specific spiritual purpose of each and every tribe, and all their future, which was founded in the land of Israel, in their portion of the land of Israel. Corresponding to that, it was set their portion. It was necessary that it not just be by lottery, but it also be by the Urim v'Tumim. He's going to explain why we need both. We needed the lottery. You need to understand that each and every person's free will comes within a framework. Each person, what does that mean? It means that each person comes to this world and he has a specific purpose. For example, I have a specific purpose besides for sharing these words of Torah. I'm also someone who God granted a talent in music. So within music, I have to make choices. My choices within music, what type of music, what messages do I try to give over with my music? All of these are a result, but the bechir that I have, the free will that I have, comes within the framework of the purpose that God placed me in the world in order to accomplish. And that's true for each tribe, and that's true for each and every human being, every individual. So where a person is, the bechira that a person has, the choice, the free will that a person will manifest in the world. So yes, he has a choice over, there is free will, but it's within a certain framework. So that's expressed by the lottery. The point of the Urim v'Tumim was to inform the Jewish people that it's not just happenstance that the lottery came out this way. But rather it's something which is set from the beginning based on the Hashem's creation, and each person receives his portion. So the portion of the land of Israel corresponds to the person's portion, his lot in life, his specific yud, his specific purpose in life. We can understand the continuation of the statement of our sages. That at this point, Moshe was also showed all of the future generations. Each generation has a specific portion. Right? Just like each shevet, each tribe has a specific purpose, each generation in time also has a specific purpose in service of God, which is set based on and corresponding to the generation. That's why he was shown each generation and the leaders of that generation. Each generation and its accomplishments in Torah are corresponding to each generation. The leaders of each generation also, the judges of a generation, also correspond to the teaching that's necessary for that generation. Each generation depends, the way that generation is going to be judged in heaven will depend on the person who's leading that generation. The leader of the generation leaves their impressions, or the leaders leave their impressions on each generation. That's why there's an obligation on each of us to recognize who our leaders are and to follow their leadership and to be machnia ourselves to them, to humble ourselves in front of them. Just like the Sami Kelm spoke about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, that he was the Shefet Ador, he was the judge of that generation. Dor v'dor umanhigav, manhig ador hem bechinas hakelim shehitam HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'dor. Right? He was told about each generation and its leaders, because the leaders of each generation are the vessels. They're part of the kelim that we have, the tools that we have for each generation to accomplish its purpose. That's why we need to listen to them. We need to listen to our leaders because they are assigned by God. So what's the idea that Hashem showed him each generation and those who were the sinners and the righteous ones of the generation? It's very interesting. We need to understand who the sinners are. We need to understand the mina katzeh from one extreme to the other, because we need to see where we fall. What are the trials of our generation? What are the sins that are going on in our generation? And what are the tzaddikim, the people who are on the highest levels? What is their accomplishment? Because we need to know what is the challenge of this generation. Each generation and the fights that it has, the challenges, that they face, corresponding to that are set the difficulties of that generation. There's also an effect from one to the other between good and bad. We can't really understand, very interesting, based on this idea, we can't understand the challenges of previous generations. We see in the early 1900s, so the Jews that came to America, so they had challenges and they gave up Shabbos in order to work. They gave up the Sabbath. We don't understand their challenge. And if they would look at us, they wouldn't understand our challenges in our generation, the challenges with the internet, the challenges with all the different challenges that we face off with. Those challenges were specific for that generation. We can't always come to conclusions about a generation or from that generation, because the way that generation acted had to do with that specific generation. The leaders of those generations, so they had to lead them in that way, but just because they were led in that way and they were instructed in that way doesn't mean that it applies to us. We need to follow our leaders in our generation. Now we get to a point which is Eretz Yisrael hiya ezer kenegdam shel Am Yisrael. The land of Israel is like the wife of the Jewish people. It's the place where we're able to manifest the most the service of Hashem, our specific purpose in our service of God. Chazal Amar, our sages tell us, Verse says, this is the land that will fall to you in an inheritance. What is the idea of to you? Lachem hi ru'uya. This land is specifically fitting for you. It's analogous to a king who had many slaves and maidservants, he would bring for his male slaves, so he would bring female slaves from another place to marry them. And for his female slaves, he would bring male slaves from a different place. He said to himself, the king, why am I doing this? Why am I bringing slaves from other places? Let me have my male slaves marry my female slaves. This is what God said, as it were. The land is mine. The land belongs to God. The verse says, the land belongs to me. The people of Israel are mine as well. It is best that I give my land, which is a place for serving me the most, to my children who want to serve me the most. That's why it says, this is the land that will fall to you in an inheritance. The land of Israel is like a match that was made between God. God made this match between the land of Israel. The land of Israel is like the wife of the Jewish people. This is the only way. This is the only way. Living in Eretz Yisrael, living in the land of Israel. The land of Israel is the place to properly serve God. And like any tool which can be used for good or bad, you can't say that a tool is intrinsically holy or not. It depends on the person who's using it and how he uses it. So too, the holiness of the land of Israel depends on how we use it for the service of God. The verse says in Numbers chapter 35 verse 34, you shall not cause the land to become impure, that you are living in, that I dwell in. I am God, I dwell within the land, the people of Israel. Ibn Ezra explains, why does God dwell in the land of Israel? In honor of the Jewish people, not in the honor of the land. That's why the verse says that God dwells amongst the people of Israel. The holiness of Israel depends on the holiness of the Jewish people. Rashi says, Ani Hashem sheichem b'sich b'nei Yisrael, af bizman sheim tmeim, shechina b'neim. Interestingly, even when the Jewish people are impure, God still dwells amongst them. Ashchina nesheres gam betumasam. The divine presence still dwells in the Jewish people even when they're impure. Im kivade lebaisam adregekuma b'tarasam. Obviously not at the level as it is when they're pure. And the reason is, Chaim Friedlander explains, because there needs to be a possibility, a potential for them to fix that which they've done wrong and for the redemption to occur. Okay, now we come to the final point. The holiness of Eretz Yisrael, God tells over the power of his actions to his nation. Our sages tell us further. This is what we find in the verse in Psalms. God says to the people of Israel, I could have created for you a brand new land, but I want to show you my power. I'm going to kill your enemies in front of you and give you their land. To fulfill that which the verse says, the power of his actions, he told over to his nation, to give them the inheritance of nations. Chaim Friedlander asks, if God would create a brand new land for the Jewish people, would that not also show God's greatness? But he says that's not, the point here is not to show God's power. He says, this is to show us the way that spiritual power works, because this will help the Jewish people. It's enough for us to see that God can place his holiness on this land, and the holiness of Eretz Yisrael, of the land of Israel, dependent on our actions. Eretz Mitzrayim, he says an amazing thing, which we've spoken about in the past, but it's so important to hear it again. Eretz Mitzrayim, Eretz Canaan, hayu ha'aretzos mishchosas b'yoser. Egypt and Israel were the most terrible places, the most decadent, spiritually decadent places in the world. Like the verses tell us in Leviticus chapter 18 verse 3, don't do like the actions of the land of Egypt, and like the actions of the people in the land of Canaan. Because of Rashi tells us, this teaches us that the actions of the Canaanites and the actions of the Egyptians were worse, more decadent than all the other nations. The land of Israel was the most decadent place in the world. The Maral tells us, like we spoke about previously, that actually the holiness of the people of Israel caused the Egyptians to be lowered. They became very lowly because of the fact that they were in proximity of the Jewish people's holiness. They became unholy. Right? This is what happens. It was prepared to be a place of Kedusha for the people of Israel. And that itself caused the Canaanite nations to be pushed down. By uprooting the impurity, God says, I will kill your enemies. That's how it became the root of holiness. The Jewish people come in. This is how God shows his amazing power. The Jewish people come in, and this is the place, land of Israel is the place where we are able to manifest the greatest Kedusha, the greatest holiness, but it's the Jewish people who are able to do that. And it's not the nations of the world. He finishes off final few lines here with an amazing statement, that in all of the generations, the Yetzer Hara fights against the holiness of the land of Israel and the holiness of the people of Israel. But specifically in our generation, and this is Reb Chaim Friedlander talking in the 70s and the 80s, so gasus v'reikonus, this superficiality, emptiness, and today we can talk about the issues that are going on of licentiousness. This causes people to run after physicality and being overly involved in physicality. We, on the other hand, need to strengthen ourselves in modesty and in holiness. To run away from externalities, from not real tzidkus, from external superficial righteousness. So it requires us to have more of an awareness of modesty and holiness, and this is something that no one else can know about. Because on the surface we can look very modest, but nobody knows what's going on behind closed doors. So he's telling us that's what's required of us. You live in Eretz Yisrael, you need to have a greater holiness. You're a Jew, you need to have a greater holiness, a greater modesty. And by doing so, we can distance ourselves from physicality and from superficiality. So I want to bless you. I ask you to bless me. Hashem should help us. That we should recognize who we are. We should recognize our portion. Not just in the land of Israel, if someone is zeicha to live in the land of Eretz Yisrael, but even someone who's not living in the land of Israel, we can recognize what is our specific spiritual purpose in life. Hashem should help us to strengthen ourselves in the areas of modesty, in holiness. Hashem should help us to be zeicha, to come back to the land of Israel, and we should be zeicha to the geula, to the redemption. B'mheira b'yameinu. Amen. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos. This podcast was made possible through the gracious donations of listeners like you. For more podcasts like this, please visit www.arigoldwag.com or search on iTunes Ari Goldwag.